Peace. I got a new hip hop album review. This is hip hop album review part 12. It's been about a month since I've done a review. Without further ado, without further introduction, here's the first sound for today is H.N.I.C's Cellar Sounds Volume 3. For those who don't know who H.N.I.C is, he's a producer from Jersey. His notable work is with the Cellar Dwellers from the mid '90s. With their first single, Land of the Lost, which came out in '94, and they came out with Perfect Match, and then he produced most of the album for their first album called Realms of Reality, which is impossible to find because it's out of print. Which I do want a copy of. I don't have an official copy of it, but I do want it. But and then you guys probably know the Big L and Jay-Z freestyle battle. Well, that beat is from another Jersey MC called Milkbone, which he appears a couple of times on this compilation album. Well, it was his song called Keep It Real, and that was the beat that was used. Well, anyway, that instrumental of the Keep It Real was produced by H.N.I.C, and that's the infamous piano loop beat that Jay-Z and Big L rapped over. So that's H.N.I.C, and this is the third installment of the Cellar Sounds. I don't have the first two. Money was kind of tight at the time. From what I understand on undergroundhiphop.com, they're sold out, but I'm gonna wait till it comes back on, or I'll just check somewhere else. But this is a compilation of demos, like unreleased songs that he did between 1992 and 1998, as well as the first two as well. And what's cool about this is that if you look at it, it's the track listing. What's cool about this is that each song he does like a brief description on each song, like how he made them, like it was like it was unreleased because maybe they didn't like the beats or like shit like that. It's dope. It's a dope album. It's a must have if you like 90s hip hop like me. Alright, next album is Tech 24 Karat Smoke. This is his debut solo album. This is Tech of Smif-N-Wessun. This was given to me by Tech himself. Funny story how I got it was last year I went to last October 2010 I went to the Duck Down 15th anniversary concert in Fort Lauderdale in downtown Broward. And and I met Tech and whatever. I met BDI, I met Sean Price and Sky Zoo and and all those cats. And Pheromones as well too. All official dudes. But I was talking to Tech, we was just chilling, and he was a regular dude, you know what I mean? Very down to earth. And then he asked me out of the blue, like, yo, do you have the new 24 Karat Smoke album? Like, nah, I don't. So he went to the van, he digged through the van, whatever, with his souvenirs. He gave me the copy. Yo, here, it's yours. I'm like, how much you want it for? Like, nah, free of charge. I'm like, what? So that's how I got it. But anyways, back to this album. It's a pretty decent album. It's pretty dope. The singles is known for, which I think the only single was it's the one with Havoc. Let me give me 1 second. It's called Death Is Forever. Yeah, Death Is Forever part Death Is Forever 2, which was still in of Smif-N-Wessun fame and Havoc of Mobb Deep. There's a video for that out on YouTube. Go check it out. I'll probably post down the video link to the video or whatever. But if you're a fan of Smif-N-Wessun, this is must have any collection. So this is 24 Karat Smoke by Tech of Smif-N-Wessun. Next album is Insane Clown Posse's first album, Carnival of Carnage. You gotta excuse me. At the time, I was in my horrorcore phase. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. For those you guys should know ICP, especially if you guys are fans of Eminem, you guys know that he had like a little beef with Eminem back in the day. Well, both of them, Shaggy 2 Dope and Violent J. You know, they had that beef going on and stuff like that, and they were known as Inner City Posse back in the late '80s to early '90s, and they changed the name to Insane Clown Posse. The only material that I know that they released under Inner City Posse is called EP, I think it's a 6-song EP called Dog Beats, which is very hard to come by. But you know, I don't have that in my collection. But then I do have this Carnival of Carnage. It's a decent album for its time. It's not for everybody's taste, and it's an acquired taste. But if you're a fan of ICP, you know, Detroit hip hop, you will definitely enjoy Insane Clown Posse's Carnival of Carnage. This is Carnival of Carnage 1992. Then we have the second album, Ringmaster. This one is a little bit more darker, you know. Not the only single that I know from this album is Chicken Hunting. That was like the only single of the album, and I believe on YouTube they have a video. It was like a rare video. It was never before seen, but I believe they have that on video on YouTube because I did see it. So, you know, this is Ringmaster's, released in 1994. Ringmaster, must have in collection if you like ICP. Again, it was a guilty pleasure of mine. I can't listen to that music now. I don't know why. It's just like very immature. I don't know. Whatever. Then we got Nas's 5th album, Stillmatic. You guys should know about this album. This was between, you know, the beef that he had with Jay-Z and stuff like that, and it's a pretty solid album. You know, it's a must-have in your collection. I don't care what nobody says. He bodied Jay-Z, in my opinion. You know, a lot of people might disagree with me. I could care less, but it's an opinion. You know what I mean? But anyways, this album was known for songs like Got a Gun, One Mic, Ether. You know, songs like that. You know what I mean? In my opinion, the reason why I say he killed Jay-Z is because, you know, obviously the stuff they were saying. But if you notice, Jay-Z doesn't rap the same like he used to. Like, I don't know, it's just like Jay-Z's music just kind of like got watered down, in my opinion. It's just not, I don't know, he's not rapping like he used to, like he did back in like 98, 96, you know what I mean? But whatever. And, you know, his flows are not the same and stuff like that, but, you know. But anyways, back to this album, you must have in your collection. This is like the last couple of good albums that Nas has been putting out. I would say like right after Godson was like the last good album, and Lost Tapes was when Nas' stuff started going downhill. It just wasn't the same, you know what I mean? You know, he just started experimenting with, you know, Salam Remy, which is cool, but I don't know, man. He just need Lost Professor, Primo, Pete Rock, like, you know, the old producers. And some Havoc wouldn't hurt either, you know what I mean? But this is Stillmatic, released in 2001, must have in your collection. And then we have Wu-Tang's The W album, released in 2000. I feel like this is Wu-Tang's most underrated album, in my opinion. Actually, yeah, it's definitely one of their most underrated. You know what I mean? It has some bangers. I really like this. In my opinion, was the last good Wu-Tang album that they had together. You know, after this album, when they came out with Iron Flag, which I do have in my collection, was not a big fan of that. I'll get to that when I get to the other albums or whatever. But songs this album is known for is Gravel Pit, which was big back in 2000. The Jump Off, Protect Your Neck, the Jump Off edition, pretty dope. Which was like an ode to, like, you know, old school hip hop in the 80s and stuff like that. It's pretty dope. And these all got videos too. And Careful Click Click, which was also a video for that too. It was pretty dope. This is a must-have in collection for all my Wu heads out there. This is the W, Wu-Tang, released in 2000. Must have. Then we got Mobb Deep's first album, Juvenile Hall, released in 1993. For those of you guys should know who Mobb Deep is, but they're a Queens hip hop group from Queensbridge. They met each other in School of Performing Arts in New York City, Arts and Design in New York. They met each other and they were known as prophetical poets or poetical prophets or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And then they released a couple of songs and stuff like that. Released a demo. They brought it to 4th and Broadway, which was this album was released on the record label. And then they released this album, released in 1993. I feel like this is their most underrated album because a lot of people didn't like. Even Mobb Deep, even Prodigy himself, they don't really consider this first album, which I could understand. But you gotta start from somewhere. It's not as bad as people think. But again, if you're a fan of early 90s hip hop or East Coast hip hop, you will definitely enjoy this album. Singles this album is known for is Peer Pressure, which was produced by Primo, DJ Premier, aka DJ Premier. And they also got the Lost Professor remix. It was just also on the album, but I prefer the original by DJ Premier. What's the others? And Hit It From The Back, which is another single. The videos like in a house party, got the girls grinding up on them. It was a pretty dope video. The girls in there, back then it was looking pretty fine back then, you know what I mean? But anyways, this Juvenile Hell, released in 1993. It's a must-have if you're a fan of early 90s hip hop, and if you're a fan of Mobb Deep, you want to complete your Mobb Deep catalog, you must have this in your collection. It's not as bad as people think it is, but whatever. This Juvenile Hall 1993. Then we have Mobb Deep's second album, the infamous. Everybody should know about this album. This is when they was trying to look for their sound and stuff like that. Released in 1995, 2 years after. After that, they got signed by Loud Records and stuff like that. And singles this album was known for is Survival of the Fittest, Shook Ones, what else? Give Up the Goods with Big Noyd, which was Big Noyd and stuff like that, which is Big Noyd's first introduction to the world. Although Big Noyd appeared on Juvenile Hell on the song, I believe, Stomp 'Em Out, which was his first appearance on Wax. But Give Up the Goods was the first single, was the first video, or like his first introduction to the world, as far as video wise. That whole the famous line that he had, and then because of that famous line that he had on that song, like his whole verse is what got him signed to I forgot the Relativity Records, if I'm not mistaken. And Big Noyd released his first album, which is more of an EP called it's his first album, called Episodes of a Hustler, which is a must-have in your collection. They just re-released it on undergroundhiphop.com, so you guys might want to go and undergroundhiphop.com and go cop the album, because the album was out of print for a while. But anyways, back to this album. Very dark, gritty New York hip hop to its fullest. You know what I mean? Must have in your collection. I don't care if you're not a fan of Mobb Deep or anything, but if you're a hip hop head, you must have this in your collection. I don't care if nobody says. Then we got their third album. I already reviewed this, but I want to review it again. This is third album, Hell on Earth. To me, another slept-on album, in my opinion, because it was a dark period for them. This album, this is when they was going through a lot of beef. They was going through beef with Tupac. A lot of they were going through a lot of deaths. They were having kids now and stuff like that. you know, they was going through a lot of, they was going through not a depression, but they was going through a lot of shit. You know what I mean? This is like the first album that they did all the beats, both Prodigy and Havoc, and to me, in this album is when they really found their sound. You know what I mean? It was like, because in Infamous they found their sound, but they were kind of like experimenting. But this album, in my opinion, was, you know, in my opinion, they found their sound, and then like it's cool because you know, nobody was making beats like Havoc back in the day, especially with the light snare, the boom boom, you know, like it sounded like, you know, like somebody hitting garbage cans, like a garbage lid from the alley and shit like that. You know, that those light quiet snares. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. And then like a lot of producers in the New York City area was trying to like duplicate, like trying to emulate that sound. You know what I mean? And especially in the mid '90s, especially like the mid to late '90s, a lot of indie hip hop in the New York area was trying to emulate Havoc's style of beats. You know what I mean? And it was actually my favorite Mobb Deep album. This is a must-have in collection, and this was actually the first Mobb Deep album I ever bought in my life. You know what I mean? And so it holds a special place in my heart. You know what I mean? This is their best album in my opinion. Then we got Mobb Deep's Murda Music, released in Hell on Earth was released in 1996, by the way. Then we got Murda Music, released in 1999. This is 3 years after Hell on Earth. The crazy thing about this album is this album went through a lot of pushbacks because it was supposed to be released in 1998, but due to a lot of heavy bootlegging, it used to get leaked a lot. You know what I mean? Like through mixtapes and stuff like that. And then because of that, they had to scrap the whole project, and they had to cause I believe if you go online somewhere, if you could find the original version of Murda Music, they do have it, you know. But anyways, it suffered a lot of bootlegging and stuff like that, so they scrapped the whole album. They recorded new material, and then you have Murda Music released in 1999. And also too, like if you go on jloveonline.com, let me see. Yeah, jloveonline.com. If you go on his website, he has a mixtape series called Mob Misses, which is collections of songs that they released between the Hell on Earth and Murda Music days. He has like 4 of those, and then songs that they didn't. Those are good to have too, because you know, they have like album tracks and stuff like that, like, you know. And those shits are ill as hell. Like I wish like some of those were on the albums, you know what I mean? But that's just my opinion. But back to this album, this is a must-have in your collection. Songs this album was known for was Quiet Storm, It's Mine with Nas, the Quiet Storm remix and stuff like that. You know, things like that. You can tell with this album they was trying to go, I don't want to say they was trying to go for the commercial sound, but it was still gritty, but you know, it wasn't as gritty as Hell on Earth and the Infamous, but you can kind of tell they was kind of go for that radio feel to it. But you know, back then radio was still playing dope shit, you know what I mean? It wasn't like this bullshit that you hear nowadays. But this is Murda Music, released in 1999. This is their 4th album. It's a must-have in your collection. Then we got Prodigy's first solo album, released in 2000, H.N.I.C, aka Head Nigga in Charge. Singles was released in 2000. Songs this album, the singles that the album was known for is YBE with BG, aka Young Black Entrepreneurs, and Keep It Thorough. What's crazy about the Keep It Thorough song is that I was reading the interview by I think Alchemist or Prodigy himself. I think it was Alchemist, but he was saying that when he recorded the song, when he recorded Keep It Thorough, um, Prodigy had a cold, so he sounded kind of like nasally. You know what I'm saying? There's a little trivia that I'm throwing you guys out there. But this is a must-have in your collection. Definitely. If you like Mobb Deep, you like Mobb Deep from the sorry about that. If you like Mobb Deep from like the Murda music days, you would definitely enjoy this album. This is a must-have in your collection. H.N.I.C, Prodigy, released in 2000. Then the last album I'm gonna do is Mobb Deep's The Infamy album, released in 2001. This is their 5th album. A lot of people didn't like this album. I liked it. It's pretty dope. But the reason being is because before, let me get to the singles first. The singles for this album was Burn with Vita, which was a dope song. Hey Love with 112, and Get Away, which was, so I think it was 3 singles that they released. But the reason why I say that is because in this album they started going towards the they still had the gritty shit just like the Murda music, but it wasn't as dark as the first 4 albums. But when they came out with Hey Love, a lot of people was giving them backlash because they was making an R&B track and shit like that. But the way they did it, it worked. It was dope, you know what I mean? And it was dope. It was cool. And it was cool. And what was crazy is that in the video for Hey Love is that the girl that you saw Prodigy kissing and all that, that's his wife Chaka. A little trivia for you guys over there. He explains that if you go buy Prodigy's My Infamous Life, which is a recommended read, must have in everybody's collection, especially if you're a hip hop head. If you're a fan of Mobb Deep, you must have that in your collection, and he talks about that. But this is a dope album. I feel like it's an underrated album, just due to the fact that I think it's because of the fact that of that song Hey Love and stuff like that, and the fact that the songs are not as, they're dark, but they're not gritty as the first 4 albums. But it's a solid album. I like it. This is a must-have in your collection, especially if you're a Mobb Deep fan, like I am. You know what I mean? So that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more. Peace.